Good morning, everyone. It's Brenda Quintana here, and I am just back from the Stampin' Up incentive trip to Maui. It was an amazing time, even though all of the restrictions and stuff with travel, and we made it through, and it was a really good time and a much needed vacation for me and my husband. We've been pretty much working solid over the past year, and it was nice to get out into a different comfort zone. Of course, like for us, we had been so locked down, and so it was a little bit of an adjustment, and we weren't quite ready for, being out in public. So we did the best that we could, and we did a lot of hiking kind of away from the crowds. I think we probably covered almost all the different types of climate zones that Maui had to offer. So that was really fun. We went up to the top of Hakalea, which is the tallest volcano on Maui, and we hiked down in the lava fields, and we went to West Maui. We walked kind of in a more we hiked in a rainforest. We hiked on a black sand beach. We did so many hikes. I'm sure that's not what most people do when they go to Maui, but we love to hike, and it was just an amazing, incredible experience. And thanks to all my customers and my team, and to Stampin' Up for allowing me to go there. That it was just a wonderful, wonderful vacation. The restrictions are really interesting when you're flying. Right now, you have to wear a mask the entire time you're in the airport and on the plane, and Maui has a masking mandate as well. Not everyone was following the masking mandate, but we were because that's who we are. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like we got something out of the vacation, and since my husband and I are both vaccinated, we felt like we could go. So it was probably a good experience for us to get a bit out of the bubble, because we had been a little bit maybe too locked down over the last little while. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit about that, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. And today is the day, Casing Tuesday, and I designed this card a few weeks ago so I would be ready today. I'm a bit of a zombie, so please excuse mistakes I make today. We left Maui Sunday night, and we flew overnight and landed in Seattle early in the morning, and then we flew that was a 6-hour flight, and then we flew another 6 hours from Seattle to Boston, getting in yesterday or in the early evening, late afternoon, and we did not sleep well on the plane. So we went to bed early and woke up, but I know from past experience, when I fly in that direction and come back, when we went to Thailand, I think it took me 2 weeks to recover from the time zone difference. I hope it won't take this long, maybe only a week or less for Maui. But when you come back in that direction and you have, like, it's a 6-hour time zone difference, it does take your body a while to readjust to being on the same time zone, even if you're still sleeping the normal, like I slept like what a normal sleep would be for me here, but still you feel kind of like in a zombie state, and your body needs time to recalculate and readjust to the time zone. So I think I'll probably be in a zombie state for another few days. So please forgive me if I'm like a little out of sorts this morning. So let me get to the card that and I just realized something. I realized my card has a sparkly background on one of the layers, and I did not pull the correct cardstock. So I'll fix that in a moment. So let's have a look at today's layout. Today, of course, is Casing Tuesday. And of course I didn't pull up the card. Let me grab that real quick. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Here we go. Let me grab Casing Tuesday 305. Okay, so here is the card and it is huge. Let me make that smaller. Okay, so here is today's card. It's a nice, easy layout. I thought that background white space would do really well as a designer series paper layer. So that's what I'm going to do for that. And then let me pull up the sketch real quick. Here is the sketch. And let me make that smaller as well. I usually do this ahead of time, but gosh, I am not in work mode today. So here is the layout simplified. Oh, didn't even realize that on my other one. Oh yeah, there is an extra layer of paper back there. I didn't realize that when I made my card. So there is a layer of paper here and a layer of paper here. And I kind of ignored this one layer of paper, but that's okay. I still love the way my card turned out. So let's switch cameras. Let me close these out. Let me switch my camera and show you what I did with my card. So here is my card, and there was another layer of paper back here, but guess what? I didn't even see it because it was a tone-on-tone paper. So that's okay if you leave that out. This layer here is 3 by 5, and then I used some punch shapes. And what I just noticed as I hit the light, and I don't know if you can see that background layer right there is actually a sparkly layer. I thought it was Native Navy because I was looking at it quickly. So I'll see if I can locate my paper and add that. But this is just a nice, easy card. The nice thing about this card is you could actually take things off of it. You don't need to use this flower, but that's just kind of a light flower embellishment. And if you wanted to keep it simple and just do the greeting and the bow, that would work, or just the greening. So this card could just be simplified a lot if you needed to do that. But I really like the way it turned out. So I'm going to show you how I made it. So first, let's create this flower right up top here. So I'm using the Flowers of Friendship bundle, and I'm using Blushing Bride and Soft Succulent as my colors. I'll need the matching punch and this bundle right here. This is the Flowers of Friendship bundle. When you purchase those together, you can save 10% over buying them separately. And so I took the flower out. It's the smaller of the two flowers. And this width of paper is about 1 1/4 inches wide, the strip. And I'm basically inking this up in Blushing Bride, and I'm going to stamp in Blushing Bride. And before I move on, I'm going to grab and I'm going to stamp a couple of leaves as well. So this is Soft Succulent. And when I'm stamping these, especially this leaf right here, I turn my punch upside down, and I'm going to be, I just inked up my hand. Isn't that lovely? I'm going to clean that up before I go. All right, so I want to match this up like this so that I'm punching on the right end. So I'm going to just put 2 leaves right here and right here, and that will match up nicely when I put it in the punch. All right, let's punch the flower first. So let's open up the punch, and I'm going to slide it in here and just line it up and give it a punch. There's my flower. And then I'm going to take this and line it up right here. Give it a punch. Uh-oh. All right, so that was a good lesson. I should not have punched that one. I should have punched the other one first. That's okay. We'll do it on this end. So what the best way would be to do this, I just grabbed a scrap piece. I would make my piece, my strip, for future reference. I would make it about 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay, with a 3/4 of an inch wide strip, then you won't have those accidental punch outs. So let's have a look again. You know, it's trial and error, truly. Okay, so if I do this, then I get this punch shape. So really, I would really make it a 3/4 inch strip. Let me show you what that looks like. All right, I took that over to my cutter. Okay, so now we're working with a 3/4 inch strip. And now we'll just stamp our leaves right along here. And that way we won't waste any cardstock by accidental punches. So that is what I would do for that. When I designed this card, it was like three weeks ago. So of course I don't always remember what I did that long ago when I created the card. So that's why it's a good reminder just to create like skinnier strips if you have multiple punches or multiple images you need to punch out on one of these bigger punches. All right, so we've got that, and now I want to create my little greeting layer. So I'm going to take some Versamark and my thank you stamp. All of these stamps are in that bundle, so you don't need an extra stamp set. This is Versamark, and it is an ink that stays wet for a while. Okay, so it kind of sits on top of the paper, so you can kind of see it's tone on tone right now. And then I'm going to take some white embossing powder, and our white embossing powder now comes bundled with 2 other colors. And you can find that in the supply list that I have on my blog. The link is down below in the description of this video. And I'm just going to sprinkle this with white embossing powder. I dump my embossing powder into these little plastic containers, and then I use an old baby spoon to sprinkle it on top and tap it off because the little container is really small, and you can funnel it back with like paper. But if you do a lot of embossing, I really like to dump the containers in the little bottles into a container. It just makes it a lot easier to not have to funnel it all the time. Okay, I've got my heat tool. I'm gonna start heating it up a bit, and now I'm just going to heat up my embossing powder until I can see it change. Let's see if I can get this up high so you can see it. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but half of it is embossed and the other half is still powder. So make sure everything's melted, and that's what it will look like. Don't touch it for a few seconds because when it's just heated, it's still a little tacky. Okay, I can still feel it's a little tacky at this point. So don't try and touch it too much until it's, blow on it a bit, just make sure it's cooled off for a sec. And then I'm going to take, this is the double oval punch, and I'm going to center this in my punch. Give it a little punch out right here. All right, now let me see if I can locate my paper from before, because I know I have it. I think it's this one. I think it's this ombre specialty paper that I used for the background. Not Native Navy. Native Navy would look good too, but oh my gosh. The adhesive on here is something else. Okay, I'm gonna find the paper. Here it is. No, yes. I was gonna say it doesn't have a punch shape out of it. Yeah, there is my punched shape. So this is like sparkly paper, the ombre specialty paper. And if you hold it up to the light, you can see it's got little tiny sparkles. It's wonderful paper, and it goes from kind of a lighter color at the bottom to a dark. And I'm going to use the darker part, and I'm going to take the Everyday Label Punch, open it up, and then I'm going to punch down here. Make sure I'm not wasting too much paper. Okay. And that is the paper that I use, but you could also use Night of Navy if you wanted to. Let me just show you what the difference is. This is Night of Navy, which is what I grabbed initially until I saw the sparkles, and I'm like, oh, I use sparkly paper. So like when you just look at it flat, it looks the same, but can you see if I hold it into the light, it catches the light and it sparkles a little bit. So it's just a little step up if you use the sparkly paper. The ombre is called Ombre Specialty Paper. And I should say it comes with 4 sheets. So the blue is just one of the colors, and you've got this reddish color. And you've got kind of a poppy parade color. This one looks like mango, and you've got also a purple. So it's really nice paper, and you can use it to add a little bit of bling to your projects. And of course I didn't realize it until I picked up the card just now, and I hit the light and I'm like, oh, that's sparkly paper. Yay. All right, so this is going to layer on here, and we've got these 2 flowers. So we're bringing back all the pieces together of our card. So let's start the assembly process. So we'll need a card base, and I'm using Pale Papaya. It's one of our new in colors. And this card base started out 11 inches by 4¼ inches, and then I scored in half at the 5½ inch mark. I cut myself a piece of 3 by 5 paper, and this one is it's called Hand Penned Designer Series paper. It's got a lot of lovely florals, and then on the back sides we always have in some nice neutral patterns. So if you don't want, you know, the really florally side, we also have the nice neutral side. So that paper just works really well. And then I'm going to take, this is 3 by 5 that I cut it to. You take some Tombow and add that to the front of my card. I'm just going to center it from top to bottom and then leave the same distance on the side. I'll take some dimensionals, if I can find it, and I'm going to add, oh no, I didn't put dimensionals on there. I did not. Okay, I find with this sparkly paper, it's best to use a little bit of tear and tape instead of Tombow. Tombow doesn't always stick very well to glimmer paper. So this is just a little line of tear and tape I'm going to put on the back of this greeting. Rub it down and then pull off here we go. There's a little bit of paper that remained. I have no nails right now, I just cut them. Okay, and then layer that on to the shimmery piece. And the backing on this can take glue, so I'm not going to use tear and tape. I like Tombow because it's quick and easy. And then I'll just add this, trying to decide right about here, maybe right about there, part way down on my piece. Make sure it's straight. All right, that looks straight. And then I'm going to add my flower. So let's do this. Let's kind of arrange our leaves the way that we would want them. So let me grab the first leaf, put a little tombow on it, and come back in here, push that down, and then we'll grab the other leaf. I'm going to pop the flower up on a dimensional, but I want to get the leaves kind of situated first. Okay. And then we'll grab the flower, put a dimensional right in the center, and then decide where that goes. All right. And then the flower looks a little plain right now. So I'm going to grab a pastel pearl. And I'll use one of these lighter colored ones. You could also use just a regular white pearl as well, because I'm using a light shade. It's just picking up a little bit of the purple in the paper, but white would work just as well. And then I tied a bow earlier with the crinkled seam binding, and I left the legs really long, just like in the original. And I'll use a mini glue dot, find one on the roll, stick my knot on the dot, lift it up, and then I'll just put it right down here. And you can decide how long you want these legs to be of the bow. You can leave them really long if you want to, or you can cut them a little shorter. In the original, they're long, so I'm going to kind of just leave them long. And that is the card. It's not super hard, and you can make things easier for yourself. You don't have to use the sparkle paper. You can choose not to emboss. You could use like a white layer here instead of a dark layer. But that is what I did because I wanted it to look a little bit like the original, so I was trying to kind of go along those same lines. So that is my card, and you could join me in copying a card and posting it over on our Casing Tuesday group. And if you're not already a member, all you have to do is just look for my link down below and ask to join the group, and it will show you how to do that when you click over to the group, and then we'll get someone to approve you, and then you will be able to post your own cards or comment on the ones that are already there, and you'll get to see the cards that are part of the group, and you can see all the possibilities of how you can start from one original card. And if you remember, this was the original card right there, okay? And you can see the bow with the long legs. And then you've got my card. So I took some of the original parts of the card, but I made it my own, a little bit different. If you want to copy the card exactly, go for it. But you can always make a few tweaks and changes like I did with my card, and make a card from an existing card, and that will help you with your designing. When you start to copy other people's cards, eventually what happens to most people is that they start to have the ability to design their own cards, or at least they start to tweak and change the cards and make them their own. And that's one of the reasons why casing is such a good thing to do. And if you're more experienced like me, it allows you to try new designs or new layouts, because we do tend to get stuck in a rut. There are cards that I like more, that are more my style. And if I didn't ever get pushed out of that, I would just make the same type of card over and over again. So that's why that's really fun. All right, let me just check to make sure there weren't any comments. I'll say hello to everyone. Good morning, Betty. Thank you. Yeah, Maui was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Good morning, Cindy from Everett. I probably flew over your wonderful state yesterday when we left Seattle. Good morning, Janine. And Janie or Jane, I'm not sure it's Janie or Jane, from Nebraska. Good morning, Karen. I'm glad you're here, even though you're late. Doesn't matter. You can always watch the replay. Betty liked my tip on adhering the leaves first. Marcy liked the long ribbon. You know, I never really do those long legs on that ribbon, but it works because the greeting is up high. So, and that I took directly from that card that I cased. Thank you, Karen. I'm glad you liked the card, and Cindy too. Hello, Alice from Indiana, and thank you for sharing. Betty likes the idea of casing and then making it your own. Yeah, and if you're new, just try and copy as much as you can, and you know, use supplies, substitute out supplies. If you see a bow, try, and you don't have that ribbon, try a different bow, a different ribbon. And if you don't want to emboss, then just use regular ink. You can just try and make it work with the supplies that you have on hand. You can be very creative that way, and I hope it works for you. So I will have a new video tutorial for you on Friday. I do a live over on YouTube, so if you want to catch that, it will be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Casing Tuesday group if you want a case. If you need any of the supplies that I talked about today, please click over to my blog. It's the first link in the description of the video, and that will take you to my blog, and I have like more information on there. Some of the dimensions I used and all the supplies I used are at the bottom of the blog post, and that way you can see if you need anything to complete your card if you want to make it like mine. So my host code gift for the month, if you spend $75, it's 75, or was it $50? Let me check what I have. I change it every month, and it's always listed on my blog. I think it might be, let's see, it's $50 this month. So if you spend $50 with me this month or more, you're going to get the animal print embossing folder mailed to you middle of June. So I do it all in a big batch, so it won't show up in your order when you get it right away, but you need to spend $50 with me using my host code, and that is my host code up there, RZD724W4. That is my May host code. You have until May 31st to spend at least $50 with me in the month, and then I will send you this animal print embossing folder. And if you spend at least $15 with me this month, you will also get one of my tutorials. And if you earn the host code gift, you also get one of my tutorials. So just as soon as you order, I suggest you email me. Usually I email you, but if you haven't received an email back from me, that means that maybe you aren't listed in my contacts. There are still a few people that are no contacts out there, and I don't always have your contact information. So if you haven't heard from me, maybe my email went into your into your spam folder. So make sure you look there, or contact me directly to get the tutorial. I always send them out. It's never something that I will ignore. So I really want to make sure I have good communication. I did have a couple people phone my home phone number while I was gone, and I did not get those messages until I got back last night, and I called those people or contacted them right away. And so if you're on my email list, you also have access to my cell phone number. So if you need to reach me, you can text or call me on my cell phone. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I can't wait to share with you my Friday tutorial. So stay tuned for that. So have a great week until then. Take care. Bye-bye.